Fingal County Council have announced a shortlist of 3 sites for a proposed sewage treatment plant to treat sewage from all over Dublin. Hi, I'm Lorcan O'Toole with a special report for Fingal Community TV. And today I'm standing right outside Corduff National School. One of the significant features of this location is that it's just 100 metres across the road and more significantly downwind from one of those 3 sites, the Newtowncorduff site. There's a lot of opposition in the area and we'll be talking to some of the people who would possibly be affected by this development. This report will cover the Newtowncorduff and the Ansbrook sites, both on the doorstep of Lusk. We're just outside Lusk village. Up to my right is Murtagh's Pub, the old Dublin-Belfast road, now known as the R132. And across the road there, just a few hundred metres, is the Newtowncorduff site, where Fingal County Council may be siting this giant sewage treatment plant. People coming out of Lusk along Ministers Road will have a lovely view of the sewage treatment plant every morning on their way to work. We're here in Balloch now, just beside the M1 motorway. The bridge is there. There's the motorway going that way, towards Dublin. And over there we have the houses in Clonshagh. Directly behind them is the Ansbrook site. And directly behind me, just behind that hedgerow over there, beyond the pylons, is the Newtowncorduff site. I'm with Mike Halloran now at his deer farm, just beside the Ansbrook site. So, Mike, do you want to tell me a little bit about your business first of all? It has some strange name that I couldn't get my head around.
Yeah, it's called Cabora Bassa. It's a name I picked up when I worked in Southern Africa for quite a number of years. And we moved out here in 98 to set up a deer farm, which I thought the prospects would be quite good. And now I find after nearly, 14 years that I'm going to get a monstrosity quite close to me. It's just down here. Just not that far from the other side of my fields here.
Over there behind those?
Correct. Just over there, between those trees down there. And this is a disaster for me because I rely, all my animals are sent for export. And I can't believe that after all this effort and as you can see around all the fencing and everything that's been put into it, that now could be destroyed in a very short period of time.
So when you say that this would destroy your business, Mike, how do you think it would affect it?
So I rely on people to buy my meat. And unfortunately, I don't know how people are going to respond when they see this location located right beside my farm.
So it's not just the possibility of real contamination, it's just the idea of it. That's the problem.
Well, people will associate the sewage with where my meat comes from.
So clearly you're concerned about this. What are you going to do about it?
Well, I have attended the meetings. I'm associated with the Reef Claim Fingal, of course, because I have a direct interest. And I've been down this road before when we were having the dump up here. And of course we put in quite a good program to fight it, if you like. And all the money that was spent fighting it, now it turns it's wiped out. So the whole thing was a waste. Yeah, it cost us a lot of money at the time, which would be 6 or 7 years ago, maybe a little bit longer. So I don't want to go through the whole phase again. I'm not getting younger. So I don't want to see all my 14 years, 15 years all wasted.
So even if it's built or not, the very prospect of it being built is already damaging your business?
Well, of course, people will associate where my location of my farm and my animals, the purpose of my animals is for export. And we talk about industry. This doesn't help my industry, that's for sure.
With me now is Martin Tully from Tully Nurseries. Martin, this proposed sewage treatment plant, how will that affect your business, do you think?
Lorcan, I think the biggest problem is where we're located here. The plant is going just across the road from me here.
So Martin, apart from the smell, which is likely to put your customers off, do you think there is any health risk associated with this?
Of course there is. I'll explain what happens. Because of the movement of water in this plant, you get an aerosol lifting. Now this aerosol then floats in the air and is carried, and that contains pathogenic microorganisms. Now these viruses or bacteria can get into the intestines, but can also get into the lungs of adults and children. This is established scientifically. Now take young children going to school can pick this up. Elderly people who might have asthmatic problems or chest problems. The old folks home in Lusk, all these are carried into these areas and they're putting people's lives in danger.
So, Martin, apart from the plants and flowers that you grow here, there's a lot of horticulture in the area. How do you think they'd be affected?
North County Dublin produces 60% of the vegetables that are consumed in Ireland. I would presume that all these plants have to have, in the event of a malfunction, there has to be a lagoon to take the raw sewage. Now, the capacity of this lagoon, I don't know how big it has to be, but let's say it's not big enough. And then let's say that this stuff gets out into a field that's growing vegetables. Now, this could affect the food chain. Can you imagine the publicity on the papers if this happened? It would destroy the horticultural industry in North County Dublin. But now, I cannot see us having a pipe from here out to the sea as a backup in the event of a malfunction. I would say it's going to be lagoons, and if this escapes out into the land, into the water courses, we have wells here that water plants, so have farmers for vegetables. Now all of a sudden you have bacteria and viruses and whatever on the food chain.
Yes, indeed. When we visited the Ringsend plant, they told us that on the night of the big rain last October, the bays that they were using to hold the sewage reached capacity and they had to discharge raw sewage into the sea.
And we're going to have to do the same here. And wouldn't this be devastating for the vegetable growers of North County Dublin and their livelihoods?
Martin, you're clearly a man concerned. How are you going to fight this?
I will not give up until this stops. It's a disgrace.
I'm standing beside a field on the road that goes from Blake's Cross to Ballybohol. And just behind me is the Ansbrook site. This very point where I am is, according to the latest report from Fingal County Council, to be the site of the entrance road that they're going to build to access this site to build the massive sewage treatment plant. If you're not familiar with the area, some of you may recognise some of the local landmarks. We have blooming baskets over there, and behind that is the very historic Graceview site. This whole area was examined in depth by Fingal County Council and others when they were proposing to build a super dump before, the one that eventually became the Nevet, which in turn then was abandoned. Well, there you've had our whistle-stop tour of the Ansbrook and Newtowncorduff sites, both on the doorstep of Lusk. Local reaction remains to be seen. For FCTV, I'm Lorcan O'Toole.